All right, joining us now, it is Bronco Mendenhall, head coach of Utah State. Aggies 3-1 for the first time since 2021. Kind enough to hang out with us. Coach, how are you?
Hello, Coach.
Hey, guys.
Hey, I know Mondays are always busy for you, so we appreciate you taking some time. But as you look at the development, and I know everybody wants to talk about quarterbacks, but just the overall development of your offense with guys feeling comfortable with their roles, do you feel like this offense is on the trajectory it needs to be to get you to where you want to be at the end of the season?
Yeah, I like where we are through 4 games. I think Coach McGivern has done just a really nice job of each week taking the sample size and expanding it, leveraging what we anticipate and what we see that we're doing well, eliminating things and not emphasizing the things that we're struggling with, seeing different players, their roles, expanding on those, and then, building, quite frankly, the complements to some of the plays that become the staples just to keep defenses a little bit more off balance. So the number of personnel groups, the number of formations, the number of eye control issues that we're presenting to the defense, option principles in the run game, as well as the different concepts in the throw game are really just, kind of starting to emerge and clarify our identity.
As a former offensive lineman, hearing the term keeping the defense off balance, it just gets me excited because I know there are little things, everything from a snap count, the cadence, to the type of play call you can help your offensive line. And, Coach, I go back to that UTEP game where UTEP had 6 sacks and 12 TFLs, and then I go to this McNeese game where there's 1 sack and 1 TFL. What are you seeing up front from your offensive line? And in terms of keeping the defense off balance, can we attribute some of that to what Coach McGivern's done?
Yeah, just exactly what you're saying. So if we start in reverse order, the scheme and the schematic design is certainly influencing, and staying ahead of the chains is critical, right? First and second down. And anytime it's obvious pass, the defense is not off balance. They're able to then kind of dictate terms, create different looks that sometimes have the offense off balance. And so we're just doing a much better job managing first and second down. We're doing a better job of the type of plays. We're doing a better job of creating conflicts, both run, pass, for the defense. And we're doing a better job of creating, quite frankly, defenses that are conflicted by side of the field, where there might be action one way and a complementary play back the other way, which is just spreading out the defenses and making them more uncertain. So run-pass conflicts on any given play, divided fields during the play, and a quarterback that's keeping the ball moving with his legs and completion percentage in between, which is, it's really coming together.
Defensively, I thought you guys had some really great moments, 4th down stops. There were so many things and every week it seems like somebody else is coming up and making big plays. And it was fun to see Bronson Olival with those 2 sacks to essentially end 2 different drives on 4th down. And he seems to really be progressing in his role with this defense as well.
Yeah, it's been a huge benefit to have taken on Air Force this early. You get so many just base run fundamentals and such clear mindset and leverage focus when you play that opponent that early. And then usually that translates, even though the scheme is completely different, your fundamentals and your mindset usually translate really well. And so I saw that regardless of the opponent, the skill and the capability of that team who'd scored over 50 and 40 in 2 of their 3 games. We were fast. We executed cleanly. We were physical. 3 and out almost every drive the first half. I think we only played 28 plays total the first half. And so just a lot of really positive things defensively. I liked how we played.
I'm interested in this because John Miller was second in the country in sacks, just aggressive in the backfield. And in this game, you have William Holmes, who pops up as a linebacker with 2 sacks. Is that something that you manage, Coach? Is that something that, the scheme shows, hey, this week we're going to get Holmes going on the rush, or this week we'll get John Miller going on the rush, or is this just individual effort?
Yeah, it's really both. So certainly each week there are matchups that we like. There's also offensive schemes that maybe allow us to highlight one player more than the other, or it puts a player more at the point of attack than any other or in other weeks. But there's also, as everyone knows about our program, the developmental nature and the accelerated focus on that and what it takes week in and out. And sometimes There's just a player where that week they took another giant step, and it showed then on game day. And that's so the combination of both the schematics, the type of opponent, but then also, man, there's just breakthroughs that are happening kind of all over with different players. And so you're kind of seeing a combination of those things when you see production maybe take a jump.
I always hear coaches talk about during a bye week, self-scout and taking advantage of the opportunity to really evaluate if you're showing tendencies or things like that. But on a week-to-week basis, do you have time to do that, to really evaluate, are we too predictable in certain situations? Do we blitz too much on 3rd and 7 and more, or something like that? Are you able to do that in the course of week-to-week schedules throughout a season?
Yeah, that's it. Didn't used to be that way, but with staffing now, and each program has a staff of analysts, and so we'll have a senior analyst on offense, a senior analyst on defense, one on special teams, and there's usually a junior analyst as well. So every week starts with who are we, not who the opponent is. Who are we? What are our tendencies? Where's our production? Where's our weaknesses? What do we need to address? Where do we need to complement? Where are we becoming too predictable? And then we measure that. We apply that against the template the opponent is providing, and then really the focus goes all the way back on us again. So we're probably the least opponent-focused program. That's an exaggeration. We don't focus much on the opponent. Once we learn their scheme and their personnel, almost the entire focus is just on our own execution and our own precision, on our own fundamentals and the keys and things we need to do versus whomever that is.
Is that how you've always been as a coach, or is that recent developments in how you approach an opponent?
No, it's shifted this way over time. When you're a first-time head coach, you're a younger professional, so much is about the opponent and listening to, I don't know what their press conferences and trying to get glean any information that's coming out of their camp. And I really don't listen or acknowledge any of that. Some of my younger staff does. I spend all of my time on our team. So yes, I acknowledge the opponent. I watch the offense, defense, special teams, and I have a good idea what the schematics look like. And mostly I know numbers, not names of the opponent. And then every second of my time is just on us. And I can control that much more than I can control for the opponent. And it's just better for my peace of mind.
Well, Coach, you take on your second-ranked opponent now, going from Texas A&M to Vanderbilt, Nashville, Tennessee. You taking the similar mindset as you guys head to Nashville, and kind of let us into what that mindset is.
Yeah. So I think it's so some of the information presented to me. Monday's a heavy interview day, and I think it's the first time Doug Hoffman, our sports information director, that Utah State has ever taken on two ranked opponents on the road to start a season in the history of the program. And again, I mentioned to our team when we traveled to Texas A&M, the location of the stadiums, and again, I have the advantage now of experience in a lot of years. The location, the size of the stadium, all of that is has to be acknowledged, and the kids, right? It's a cool college experience for them, and it's fun to see different states and different cultures and what that might look like. The reality is we're going to play a football game, and I don't really care what the patch is or what the ranking is, or really anything else other than, yeah, I'd like our players to play really well. I'd like them to play super hard. I'd like them to be united. I'd like to give them their best chance to be successful. And I really don't care where we're going or playing against whom. And so I downplay that. I certainly acknowledge it and then never mention it again. And then we just go to work.
Utah State announces yesterday that Cameron Walker is the new athletic director, and I'm sure will be on campus here very soon, and he starts on October 6th. Were you kept up to speed on the process on this, and have you had a chance to chat with the guy running the big chair now? Yes,
to both the questions, I was kept up to speed throughout the whole process. It was comprehensive, it was thorough, it was extensive. And I was included at the very end with the finalists and had a chance to visit with them in person. I'm thrilled with the choice. I think there's so much that makes sense. The development part, the strategic thinking part, the law degree in relation to all the things that happen in the NIL space now, that he's been a football administrator. He's also been an administrator within the basketball program, so the two main generating sports. the number of issues that he's dealt with from Utah Valley as they transitioned basically from a junior college, right, to where they are now, Central Florida, doing something similar as they're transitioning and growing, and then having the chance to see what Tennessee's athletic department looks like with a really impactful role. His wife is so Cam's wife is from Heber City, young family, and he's from Rexburg, and has a great idea after spending 6 years in the state at Utah Valley. There's just so much that makes sense for Utah State, besides the type of person he is at this time, at this place. So I'm really excited for the Aggies.
Well, Coach, as we just wrap things up here, I just got to say 3-1, winning a dogfight against UTEP, a nice performance against Air Force, 100-yard game coming for Miles Davis against McNeese, and cranking down on the sacks and doing those things. You've got to have a lot of optimism about this team and feeling good about where you're at through 4 weeks, Coach.
Yeah, I really like our team. I love their work ethic. I love their mindset. I love their focus on improving. There's lots of really cool things happening. And, sometimes comparisons are really tricky. But if you look at the Air Force Academy and their game against Boise State this past week, almost an identical score in terms of points scored. Boise gave up one more touchdown than we did against Air Force. And so, again, if Boise on a consistent basis is right the Mountain West preferred champion or one that's predicted, as the season goes, you start looking for benchmarks along the way. And I'm excited about our chances. I love the conference race. I love the parity, and I love the chance that the kids are earning to improve each week. So we're generating momentum for sure.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to catching up with you again later in the week.
Thanks for the time.
All right. Thank you both. See you later.